Hello and welcome to my first episode of my new series I'm starting on this channel called Python for Beginners. So basically in this series I'll be teaching you how to learn and how to be proficient in the programming language known as Python. Now this first video it's going to be a relatively short video compared to the others I'll be releasing in the future. So this video we're just going to look at how to run basically a Python script, and we're just going to the main focus of this video will be on how to set up our development environment. So let's get started. So this video's agenda. So we'll be installing Python. We'll be going to some of the basic commands there are in the terminal for if you're using if you're on a Mac operating system, or in the command line if you're on Windows. We're going to set up our own development environment. We're going to run a Python script. We're going to see how to run a basic Python script, and we're going to do it for both operating systems, Mac and Windows. So I'll split this video in half, in two parts. The first part will be on Mac OS and the other part on Windows. So let's begin. So first things first, let's install Python. So installing Python. Now the thing with Python is that if you're running it on a Linux machine or on a Mac operating system, Python is already pre-installed in that machine. So you only need to install Python if you're on Windows. So for this time, for this time, we're gonna skip this part because I am on a Mac operating system. So basically, regularly, how you would install Python is you would go to their website, which is www.python.org. So this is the website where you would download Python. You can read all about it. So the latest news there are in Python, the latest version of Python there is. So right now the most up-to-date version is 3.7.3. And you can read about the documentation for Python. I really recommend this to read, like, for beginners. If you're really interested in learning about languages and the libraries it has, the functions, and all of the different things that it has to offer. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll link this in the description. You can download this, but for now I won't need to download this, so we can skip the first part and we can go directly to learning some basic commands in the terminal. So let's go to my desktop. So I'm going to open my terminal. Now this is on Mac OS. The other half of this video will be on Windows. So let's open our terminal. Let me, it's on full screen. Let me zoom in. So basically for now, there are just two things that you need to know for on like how to use the terminal. The first one is the cd command, which is basically the directory. So it navigates you to where, or you actually use this to navigate where your file is located. And the other one that you're going to use in this in the series or in this lesson is the command known as Python. So we're going to use this to run our Python scripts whenever we create a Python script, which we'll be creating in the near future. And yes, so because I already have Python installed, I can check the version I have of Python installed. So for that, I just need to type in Python and then the version. So you can just use this command to actually. So basically, you can check your current version of Python that is installed on your machine. So right now, I'm using 3.6.5. The latest version is, I believe, 3.7.3. So I am a bit backdated. But the thing is that this version, it's kind of working with the OS. I don't want to mess with that. You can, however, install the latest one, but I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to stick with this one. So now that we've looked at basically Python, on where we can install Python and our command line, so our two commands, which is the cd, the directory one, the change directory, and the Python command, which basically we use to run our scripts, which we're going to look at in more detail in the future, and our cd script, which we will look into now. So basically, let's learn how to run a basic Python script. So I've linked this in the description below. It's basically a Python script. You don't need to worry about on what a script is or how you actually create a script. We're going to look that in my next video. So for now, you're just going to click this link, which is in the description below. You're going to download it. It's a zip file. So it's going to download a zip folder. So now that I have it downloaded, I am going to export this to my I'm just gonna so now that I have the file, I'm just going to drag it to my desktop where I can actually open this file, and we're going to learn how to run a basic Python command or a basic Python script. And now that I have the zip file downloaded, I'm just going to extract it, and I'm going to get our first script. So you don't need to actually worry about what the script is. You just need to download this and get this to your desktop or whichever folder you're saving your files at. So for now, I'm saving this to my desktop. So now we're going to run this file from our terminal. So let's go back to our terminal. So as you recall, the cd command, which is a change directory, I'm going to change my directory to my desktop where my file is actually located, my script. And then I'm going to use the Python command to run that file. So Python and the name of the file that we're running. So in this case, it's firstscript.py. .py is the extension we use for when we create Python scripts. We'll look into this in more detail in the future upcoming videos. You just need to click enter, and we're going to run our first Python script. And it prints, "Congratulations on running your first Python script." And there you have it, as simple as that. So to recall what we just did, to run a Python script, you save the script to wherever you want to save it. So it's whether it's in your desktop, like as I have done it, or in your or any other folders that you've saved it into. Then you change your directory to that folder. In this case, I've changed mine to my desktop. And then you use the Python command, so Python, and then the name of the script. So in this case, it's firstscript, script.py, and then you run that script. So right here. Yeah, so now since we've covered on how we can actually run our script, what the two basic commands we need to know, like as beginners for now, we're gonna learn a lot more in the upcoming videos. So the Python command and the cd, the change directory command. Now let's look into how we can set up our own development environment. So setting up our development environment, there is no right or wrong way to set up our development environment. So it depends what like operating system you're using or you're actually using. So for example, like for a Mac OS or for like on Apple devices, there are a lot of different text editors or IDEs that you can download. We're gonna look into IDEs in the next video, but for now we're just gonna set up our development environment with a text editor. So there's Atom, Sublime, Text Wrangler, Vim, Emacs on Apple devices. On Windows, so these are like the most popular ones. So there's also Atom, which is, as you can see, it's available on Apple devices, Windows, and Linux machines. So we have Atom, Sublime Text, and Notepad++. So for this video, and like I personally, I like Sublime Text. It's just simple and really neat and clean, and it's really easy for beginners to kind of like get the hang of, or it's really easy to use for beginners. So yeah, I kind of like Sublime Text. So for this episode or for this video, we're going to set up our development environment with Sublime Text. So for that, we're going to need to download Sublime Text, which I'll do it right here. So let's just open Google. So Google, let's close this. We just go on to the website, which is www.sublimetext.com, which I'll link in the description below. Now we just click on OS X. Now I already have it installed, so I won't need to install it, but if you don't have it installed, you can install it. Since I already have Sublime installed, I'm just going to open that. And we use these text editors or IDEs, which again, we're going to look into the next episode. So we use these text editors to create Python scripts, which if you're not familiar with, you don't have to worry about it for now. We're going to look into like in the future videos that will be uploaded on this channel. For now, we just need to worry about like setting up your environment so we can actually learn how to code it. So I have Sublime set up here. So this is Sublime Text Edit. You can type in anything you want. So this is where we'll be creating our scripts in, or our Python scripts in, and the command line is where we're going to run our Python scripts in. So the way I like to set up my development environment is to split my screen in half, which like it's really easy to do on an Apple device. It's basically this. So I like to have my text editor or whatever the program I'm using on the right hand side, and my command line or my terminal on the left hand side. So here I can create like different scripts, whatever scripts or whatever projects I'm working on. And then here I can just run that from the command line using the Python command and so on and so forth. So there's no right or wrong way to set up your development environment. It's all about getting comfortable and actually like create or having everything organized, which is really easy, which basically helps you to learn quickly. So this is like I find this really effective for beginners who are actually trying to learn. Like this is a really easy and a helpful setup to use, having your text editor set up on the right hand side and your terminal or your command line on the left hand side. Yeah. So now that we've set up our development environment, let's create a simple script, a really simple and an easy script that we can run from the terminal. So basically, so we're just going to perform an arithmetic operation. So we'll just do 5 plus 6 for now. Sure, why not? And you don't need to worry about what this thing is, the print and these parentheses. We're gonna look at this. We're gonna look this in much more detail in the upcoming videos. So I'm just gonna do this, and yeah, I can just erase this, and then I'm gonna save this. Now this is a really important thing. Whenever you're creating scripts, regardless, so you don't need to worry about what is actually going on here. You just need to worry about how to save a script. So whatever you do here, so let's say this is your code, this is your Python code, and then whenever you save a script, you need to save it with the extension .py. So I'm going to save my script in my desktop, and then I'm just going to name it. So we have our first script. I'm just going to name this second script .py. So .py is the extension we use to let the computer know that we're saving this file. And so basically we're letting the computer know that this file is written in the Python programming language. So let's save this. I'm just going to delete this, and then Command S, I'm going to save this. So we just created our really simple script. Now let's run that from the terminal. So let's navigate to my desktop, which I'm already in, or I'm already in my, so I've already changed my directory to my desktop. Now my file is here, basically the developer here, the second script.py. I can just run this from the terminal, as you recall. So we use Python, which is basically letting the terminal know that I'm running something that's written in Python, and the name of our script or our file, which is second script.py, and then let's run this. And it prints 11, which basically it's kind of really obvious, print 5 plus 6. So now that we've created a really simple script using our development environment that we just set up, so having our text editor on the right hand side properly neat, it's really neat and clean. So I really encourage you to download Sublime or any other text editor that you prefer, Sublime, Atom, or Notepad++ if you're on Windows, and then kind of set that up and get familiar with it, setting up your development environment, because this is really useful when you're learning complex concepts, really when you've never actually kind of been introduced to them, or you've never actually, so if this is something new, this setup is really helpful for beginners. So let's switch back to our slides. So now let's view this on Windows, and let's actually see what the process looks like on Windows machine. So now let's look at how to set up our development environment on a Windows operating system. So let's look at what the process looks like on how we're going to install Python, because as you recall, in Windows, on Windows operating system, Python usually isn't pre-installed, so we need to install it manually. But in Mac OS and Linux, it's already installed, so you don't need to install it. So we're going to look at how to install Python. We're gonna learn. We're gonna run the command prompt. We're gonna learn about like 2 basic commands that we're going to be using, and then we're going to run a script. It will be our first script that will be running on the terminal using Python that we'll install, and then we're going to set up our own development environment for our future use. So now because I don't have Python installed, so now let's install Python. So for that, I'm going to go to their website, which is www.python.org. For that, you can just go on. You can just I'll link this in the description below. If you want to, you're free. Just feel free to kind of browse through the website. Like if you want to read the documentation or about the previous versions of Python, or just some general information about Python. I highly recommend you like just scan through the website. But for now, I'm just going to click on the downloads button on the menu, and then I'm going to download the latest version for Windows, which is the Python 3.7.3. So let's download that. And I've already pre-installed Python like before I started the recording, so I'll have it installed. I won't install again. But there's one important thing that I wanted to show you, is that when you click on Python, when you run, so basically when you run the installation process. Now I've already installed it, so that's why it kind of shows me a different screen. But on your screen, it'll be a similar screen, but it'll just say Python blah 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 install. And here a checkbox which will say set path, set path, which basically you just check it and then you just install Python and install regularly. So to set the path, basically what you're doing is that because there's Python is not pre-installed on this operating system, you're setting the path of like the Python directory of this operating system to the Python version that you're downloading. So just click on the checkbox right here and then just install it regularly. Now, I've already installed it. I won't install it again. So that's that. So once you've installed that, let's move on to using our command prompt. Now, if you've heard of git bash, or if you know what git bash means, I highly recommend, or git bash, I highly recommend you use git bash. But if you're not familiar with it and if you don't know what that means, it's okay. You won't need it doesn't really matter that much. That if you don't know it, you can just use the command prompt. So just type into the search box command prompt. So let's open the command prompt. So this is our command prompt where we'll use this as our terminal to run the scripts we create and all the Python scripts and everything Python related we do. We'll control it from here. So there are 2 main kind of commands that I want to emphasize this lesson, that I really want to emphasize on, is the cd command, change directory, and the Python command. So the cd command, basically we use this command, it stands for change directory. So we use this command to, as the name suggests, change our directory. So we kind of generally use this whenever, like, let's say our file is located in a specific directory. We use this like from the directory we're in. So right now I'm in my pizza SB user directory. So from there I can navigate to the specific file using the cd command. And the Python command, it's basically everything we do kind of that is Python related. So we use this command to update Python. Like let's say there's a new version coming out. So let's say this one's 3.7.3. The next one is 3.7.5 maybe. So we use this command to update that version. We use this command to run our Python script, which we'll be doing just shortly. So we use this command to run. So everything we do kind of like that's Python oriented, we use the Python command. So now let's look at running a basic Python script. So I've created a short Python script, a really simple and a basic Python script. I've linked it below in the description. I've linked it below. So you can just go ahead, click on that link and download the file. So I've already copied the link. So you can just download that file and you click on that link, it'll open a page up like this. So the name of the file is firstscript.py.zip. Now it's zip because it's a compressed folder, so you need to extract it. .py. Now this is the thing that's really important. .py is the extension that we use to notify or to tell the computer that this file, which the name of the file is firstscript, that this file is written, or the script is written or programmed using the Python programming language. So any script you create, or any file, or any file you create which contains code in Python, you always save it with the extension .py to let the computer know that this file or the script is created in Python. So let's go ahead and download this. I've already extracted it and copied it. I've already copied it to my desktop, so you can click on it, extract it. So what I've done, I've copied it to my desktop, so I've just extracted it from my downloads folder, copied and pasted it here. So this is our first script. So let's go back to our terminal or command prompt. So now let's learn how to run this script, this basic script. So now we're going to use the cd, the change directory command. So I'm going to change my directory from my users folder to my desktop, because this is the script is saved in the desktop. So let's do that. So now I'm in my desktop. So now I'm going to run this script. So now, like, whatever you see on the screen is so all of like these icons and these files that you see on the screen, now those are accessible from this command right here. So I can basically access this from the terminal. So let's run our Python script. For that, we just type in the keyword Python followed by the name of our script. So FIRST firstscript.py. Remember the py extension, it's really important. So we basically use this to tell the computer that this file, the name of the file, firstscript.py, it is written in the Python programming language, and let's run it. So press enter, and there we have it. So congratulations on running your first Python script. And there we have it. We just ran our first Python script using the command prompt, our terminal, and using the Python we just installed on this machine. So now I want to switch this back to the programming setup. So now let's look at how we can set up our development environment. So development environment is really crucial, especially like when you're beginning to learn about various programming languages or various coding practices or coding styles. It really helps us organize and maintain all that like kind of like when you start to develop like complex projects, having an organized development environment is really key and is really handy. So let's look at the different options we have for setting up our development environment in. So if you're on Mac OS or using a Mac operating systems, there are various text editors or IDEs, which stands for Integrated Development Environment, which we'll look in the future episodes. So for now, we're just going to set up our environment in a text editor and our terminal. So for macOS, there are various popular options that people use. One of the most popular ones is Atom. It's a text editor that is available on all of the following platforms, on Linux, Windows, and macOS. Then we have Sublime Text, which is also available on these three, Text Wrangler, Vim, Emacs, and then on Windows, which we're using right now, we have Atom, Sublime Text, Notepad++. On Linux, Atom, Sublime Text, Vim, Emacs. So I've chosen Sublime Text. It's really simple. It's really clean, nice and clean to really use. The interface is really simple. So for this lesson, I've chosen Sublime Text to set up our development environment in. Now, there's no right way or wrong way to set up your environment. You can choose any other text editor you like or any other style you like of that specific text editor. It's all up to you. So let's go back to our screen here and let's install Sublime. So let's go back here. Yes, right here. So I'll link this in the description below. You click on that link, it'll open up Sublime Text. You can download it for Windows for 64-bit Windows operating system or for Linux operating systems. Now you click on the window, it'll start downloading the exe file for your installation process. I've already pre-installed Sublime like before this recording, so I'm not going to install again, but you just click on it, you click run, and you basically install it the regular way how you would install any other application. So for now, let's open Sublime and let's see what. So this will be like our main so this will be the place where we actually create our scripts, and the terminal will be the place where we run our scripts, or where we like check the results of our script. So like personally, how I personally prefer my development setup to be is having my command prompt or my terminal on the left hand side of the screen like this, and having my text editor or whatever IDE I'm using on the right hand side of my screen. This really helps me to it's really organized, so I really recommend this for beginners, like whoever, like whenever you're learning a new language or you're just starting out. This is a really great way to manage your code and manage like the structurization of your scripts. So here here we'll just create our scripts. So here our Python code goes here, and then we're going to run those scripts from our terminal. So for now, let's just create a really basic script, which basically, let's say, perform a arithmetic operation. So let's do print. So don't worry if you have no idea what this stands for and what like the print word is and these two parentheses. We'll look into this in more detail in the next video. But for now, just copy and paste, or just look at this and try to replicate the same script. So let's just do, let's say 47 plus, let's do 79, sure. So we've created a really basic script which basically prints the arithmetic, the value of this arithmetic operation, which is adding 47 into 79. So let's save this, and if you recall, we save this with, we give it a name. So let's say second script, since we already have first script. Second script.py. Remember the py extension. Never ever forget that. So the py extension, always you need, it's really crucial to have that in front of your like overall script name, because it notifies the computer and it tells it that this file is written in the Python programming language. So let's save that, and now it's saved into our desktop. Let me zoom in a bit here, and then let's run it. So we're already on our desktop directory. We don't need to change anything. Let's go Python, and then second script.py, and then let's run this, and 126, and there we go. We just created a basic script in our development environment that we just set up. So our text editor on the right hand side, our terminal on the left hand side. As simple as that. It's neat, clean, precise. It's really good. I urge you to set up your development environment kind of like in this similar fashion. There's no right way or wrong way to do it, but this is the best way in my opinion for like beginners or whoever. Like, this is how your development environment should or could look like. And yeah, that's about it. So we've created a simple script. We've gone through the two basic commands that we used. So cd change directory and desktop, or not desktop, Python, which we use to run our Python scripts and to do anything that's Python oriented. So now that we've looked into this, let's head back to our slides and let's just recap what we did. So we've installed Python on our computer. We've set up our programming environment, which is having our text editor on the right hand side, our command line, our terminal on the left. So whenever you're creating script, it's really efficient to just go to the left hand side and just run that, and then just work off like that in that pattern. It's really helpful for beginners and for new people who are learning Python. We learned how to run a Python script, so we actually created our own Python script, which was a simple arithmetic operation. We also ran a pre-made Python script, which I've linked in the description below, And then we also learned about some basic commands in the terminal, which is like the cd, the change directory command, and the Python command to run our Python script. And we've done this for both operating systems, for Mac and for Windows. So now I just want to say thank you for watching. And this is my first video of the series, so I'm not really sure if the way I'm kind of teaching is if it's effective. So I really appreciate your feedback, your criticism on the way I teach and on like the whole style, the whole format of everything. And I urge you to please subscribe if you may like to, if you want to see future videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.